Hi, you guys. Ginger Cook here with Acrylic Painting Monday. I always like December Mondays, and I'll tell you why, because you get sort of into the holiday spirit. We usually have a few snow scenes mixed in with the tutorials that we do in the month of December and November. And we know that not everybody lives where there's snow, so of course sometimes we do tutorials that are not snow. But today we're going to be doing a charming little cottage in the woods, and I thought it would be really fun. This is something that would make a nice card. You can customize it, a little 8x10 canvas, so it's going to be easy to do. I've got it sketched out. Of course, when you want the traceable available tomorrow for our if you go to acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com, you can sign up. You can find find the traceable. I think you can sketch it in. I think it's going to be pretty easy. But if you need a traceable, we'll have it ready for you tomorrow. All right. So in the meantime, hopefully John and I are participating in the live chat. We're on the other side of the world when this is being filmed. We anticipate that we will be somewhere in Australia. So.
In the north, in the South Pacific.
South Pacific. So it'll seem odd to be talking about snow when we're not seeing any, but that's okay. I think you guys are going to enjoy this video, and let's get started, John.
We can do that. But how much snow do we talk about? You know, we live in Houston. How much snow do we get?
We get snow maybe once every 5 years.
Whether we need it or not.
Yeah. So first off, I've got a little purple canvas. Blue would be fine. I just wanted something that wasn't white, and it's a little 8x10. I've just done some light purple on it, but that's because we want that kind of to come through for the snow. This is where our little cottage is. I mean, it's very simple. Here are the colors we're going to be using. Heavy body acrylics. If you haven't made yourself a color chart by now, we suggest you just pause the video and kind of see what these colors are. But we're going to be doing
Can you push your iPad back just a skosh there? If you look at the monitor, you can see what you were seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, phthalo green, cad red light, naphtha crimson, magenta. This is cadmium orange, cadmium yellow light, and yellow oxide, and then we've got zinc white and titanium. And the difference between zinc white and titanium, for those who don't know, is that zinc white is like a transparent, and it's very good for clouds and mist and steam, and you can't really make it. Okay, you have to have it. So you can add a little tiny bit of white to cad yellow medium to make a lighter yellow. It won't be quite the same color or as bright, but you can do that. And you can't make magenta either, by the way. So that's one of those colors you just kind of have to own. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the color chart away, and you can see where I've started here with my little 8x10 canvas. I've already got paint on my hands from opening the tubes of paint. I want to just take a small brush here and give red, just take some naphtha red and just do just paint my house in red while we're doing it. And these angle brushes, these Bristol-ons, for years I used the ruby satin silvers. And then I discovered that these Bristol-ons made by the Silver Brush Company, they even are better, believe it or not, than those others. And those others were pretty darn good. I used those for years and years. But these angle brushes are fantastic. And you can see how nicely I can cut an edge with that. And okay, so this is pretty nice. I'm going to take a little of the change reds now and change to the other side of the house. Come over here. You can see where the just the difference in reds. Look at the difference. Can you see it? Which is why you want a bunch of different reds. So we're going to come here and kind of going around the windows. All right.
Would you ever want that red of a house?
No.
I don't think I would either.
A barn, yeah, but for some reason, not really. So then the question comes up, could somebody paint this a different color? Well, I guess so.
But you'd
lose the whole thing of the painting. If you did a brown house, it would be pretty boring, So, but it's your house.
You paint it purple if you want.
Yeah, so we're not the house color police. We would be remiss if we tried to dictate what color your house should be. But I'm telling you, from an artistic standpoint, even though you personally might never have a red house, they do restaurants in red too. Have you noticed that? They do, a lot of times this could be a restaurant too, I guess. Not a house, but I know that's sort of crazy, isn't it? This comes here, and this is red right there. This is a little tiny bit of red, little triangle red right there. Okay. All right, so I've kind of got that in. Now, because I have red on my brush, I really need to rinse it. And when you rinse your brush, you've got to make sure you're getting all the water out of it. So we're talking about that, John. Who's our we want to say hi to our moderators who are joining us.
Who's our moderators? Well, tonight
we don't know because we're not here because we filmed this ahead of time. But whoever showed up, thank you from the bottom of our hearts to moderate our shows. YouTube is one of these things. John and I have never missed a YouTube video, and we've done this a while. We appreciate you sharing the videos and giving us a like and subscribing to the channel. The question often comes up, people make a lot of money on YouTube. That's what they do. When you go on YouTube and you have this, these guys are making a lot of money.
Whoa. How much money can people make? I mean, millions of dollars or what?
You know how you make $1 million on YouTube?
No.
You start with 7 million. And I say this because we are happy to share this with you, but we appreciate it when your generosity is back in return, sort of a quid pro quo kind of thing. And so those of you who have contributed to our scholarship fund, our donations and so forth, we appreciate that. Kind of helps cover the costs of what we do. We've got a camera that's about ready to go out. Hopefully we'll get all these filmed before we leave. But there's a constant expenses to bring you these videos. And, just sharing them with other people is a nice thing to do. Talk about them, share them, spread them out, let people know.
Subscribe
even someone that doesn't paint, you could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the sky now, and I'm going to take some white paint like this, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of, this is like purple. I'm going to put a little bit of purple in it, little tiny bit of purple, and maybe a touch of light yellow, purple and light yellow, because that kind of purple and light yellow, that grays everything. Let's try a little blue in there too. There, okay. Let's do a little blue. Okay. All right. Now let's get more white. Let's get a bigger brush. All these things. All right. So now here's the same kind of brush, just larger. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the sky in.
The winter sky.
The winter sky and our woods. And same kind of thing, a little bit of mauve in here like that, a little bit of this blue color, ultramarine blue. There we go. Ooh, too much. Let's just wipe that off. See, you just,
boo-boo.
Well, just notice I don't really want that much there, okay? And what I want to do is I just want to get this first layer of sky in here like this. We'll come over here on our fence. There we go, like that. Let's come up to our fence a little closer. There we go. Now you see how this sky has got some peach tones to it, a little bit of blue tones, a little bit of purple, put a little more purple in here. Just a touch. You don't need much. You see I'm hardly putting any on the brush, kind of just doing a little bit of that, like this. Kind of an interesting background. Now, while this is still wet, this is the trick. While this is still wet, we'll change brushes. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of that purple color with a little bit of brown in it. Just put a little bit of brown and purple together.
And your brown is the burnt umber?
Burnt, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, I'm using kind of burnt sienna in purple. There, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm just going to Put some trees. A little tree coming up here like this. I want to suggest there's some trees in the background. I want them pretty light and faded, right? I don't want to talk about them that much. So I'm going to just say there's a few here. And you want them to go all the way across to off the top of your canvas, at least a little bit. You don't want that, okay? So there's a couple of these little trees, and maybe we'll make one a little darker because it's a little brighter because it's forward from us, right? Like that. And then we're going to take the purple and green color, okay, the purple and green color, and I'm going to come up here like this, and I'm going to make some pine trees. You're just using the edge of my brush. Keep in mind that it comes down. I want a little green on that too. A little bit of purple and green. Then as you come on down, I want to have it something darker by the house, where the house is. This will all be darker in here. And then next to the house here, we'll just make this dark. Kind of clever, huh? Maybe make this a little dark down in here too, like that, just to say that this has got a little darker. And then we'll suggest maybe there's a little bit of a pine tree over here. We'll skip a space like that. Bring some branches up. Bring that little pine tree. See, pretty easy. I know you think it's the trick is that you want to vary the branches. They get thinner at the top. Sometimes they're coming in front like this. So there's this pine tree. There's sort of this purpley color. We haven't put the snow on them yet, but we will. Okay. And here's a little purple, and I want to say there's some up here in front of the house like this. Maybe we'll have these going down, a little different kind of tree. We'll just have these branches going down like this. And I remember as a kid, we'd go out to a Christmas tree lot and we'd buy Christmas trees, and they were all different prices depending on the pine tree. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah, different sizes, different varieties.
And of course, we always liked the expensive ones.
We want the biggest one that wouldn't even fit in the house.
Yeah, and then the one I always wanted, John, was the one they flocked white. I always charged more for that. Nobody ever got me a flocked white tree, but I wanted a flocked white one, and I just never did. And when I first came to Houston, we let's see, let's get a taller tree up here like that. Let's just bring this down like that. So see, there's our background trees. If I took some zinc white now and just lightened everything up a bit, I could suggest another tree back here that wasn't so dark, right? I'll sneak that one of these back in here to give my wood some depth. See, farther things are away, they're grayer. Everybody remembers that. Okay. So, we're just trying to keep it simple but elegant. That's our thing.
There you go.
Simple but spectacular. That's what we're going for today. Simple but spectacular. All right.
So you were saying when you first got to Houston?
Yeah, when we first got to Houston, they used to sell Christmas trees where you could buy live ones. But having never lived in a place where it got so hot, they dried out. They were fire hazard.
They dry out real quick.
Yeah. I'm just going to suggest that there's maybe one down in here too in this area here, right, like that. Going to put one a little bit closer to us. All right. Now, we could stop and dry, and we can do that because John can pause the video because we're pre-recording this. So why don't we do that?
All right, drying.
All right. So what I want to do now is take that zinc white and come back this way and push these trees in the background a little bit more than I had them. These little purple ones too, right? And I want to suggest that, see, we're going to put all this in the background. And this is our zinc white. So just give it a little distance.
Almost could be a little snow action going on back there.
Yeah, well, we got to put some snow on the trees too, but I wanted to just say we've got some trees, right? But we need to push them in the background. And I even want a little bit of the kind of snow coming down this way, kind of at an angle here, like this. It's just, I like that purple though. It's kind of that purple haze that we had before. I don't want to lose that. So there's my little bit of my purple haze kind of in these trees. Now I can take some titanium white and I can suggest that we've got some snow on these just by, remember, the snow's hitting the top of the branches. Yes? It's landing, it's going, it hits the top. Everybody says, I don't understand where to put the snow. It hits the top of the branches, so it's pretty self-evident. All right. The same thing with these guys here. We're going to say we got some snow falling here on these. And of course, it gets bigger as it goes down, right? So let's see, and I want to have, this is titanium white now. I want to put some snow on the top of this one. Little brush is a little big for that. Let's get a little smaller brush. Sometimes just understanding when to change brushes will help you. Are you using too big a brush? I saw someone the other day send me something and they were doing really good until they tried to paint some detail with a big brush and they couldn't do it. When you're painting something small like this, you want to make sure that you adjust your brushes for either the large sections of what you're painting or the small sections, right, of what you're painting. You want to, let's put a little bit of the phthalo blue with that too. That's a little bright, so we'll put some purple with it. And here we go. I want a little bit of that color, some of that blue color on these branches coming up in here like that. It doesn't have to be everywhere, but there we go. Just kind of push these. There you go.
Is that the phthalo blue?
Yeah, it's a little phthalo blue and white. So, all right, so you can kind of see where I've done a little bit of that, right? Pushed a little bit of this, and I think I almost feel like I need another little tree right here, another little dark one to balance this. So I'll just I'll suggest another little tree in here. We don't have to say where it goes, we just know we want something, and of course we wanted something dark right here. And then we can take a little bit of the white and come under here like that and just suggest there's some trees just by adding a little bit of, this is what's called suggestion, that you can see through there. And that's our background. It doesn't need to be a lot more than that, okay? So, just kind of take a moment and dry in between. We're going to take some white paint now and we're going to paint this window white. Like so. Okay. There we go. And we've got some white windows along here, some little smaller ones. And we've got some purple and white, maybe a little blue with that. we're going to say here's the post for this house. It's not quite as light as that window, but here's the post for this house in here like that. Let's just come under here. This is light under our little triangle of red. You can bring this on down. And then I will take some dark brown paint and just suggest that there's stairs going up here like that. And there we go. Let's see, right about here is the, let's just do some yellow and white here, and I'm going to suggest a window here and a window here, okay? Now what I want to do with the yellow when I do this is I want to come in here, use the white paint as the shutters or the mullions around the window, and just paint the yellow on the inside like that, okay?
The glass.
So we're painting it, yeah, we're showing you that that's where that went. And that's pretty easy. And sometimes I like to take a little bit of orange and yellow, that light orange color, and suggest that there's something in the tree in here like that. You don't paint the whole window, you just suggest some color. Okay, just a little bit like that, maybe a little more on this one. Okay, so just said those are our windows. They don't need a lot of detail, but already you can kind of see, can't you, that we've got that we're getting a little farm here. So now let's take some burnt umber and put in our post. Now these are logs. If this was a post, I might tape it, but these are our logs. These old wooden logs here that somebody felled from one of these trees, probably in the forest. So they don't have to be so perfect. But he said we'll put them in dark brown here. We'll start with the burnt umber on them. You know, it's one of the things when you're painting with acrylics, you know, people don't realize it, but start with your darkest color first. And then go lighter. Dry it and go lighter. Where in watercolor, you do just the opposite. So if you're trying to do watercolor one day and acrylics the next, I think it could be very confusing. I know when I was in boarding school in Switzerland, just because I was kind of bored and you had to go to school on Saturdays, I took Spanish and French at the same time, and I didn't learn either one because I got so confused that I had to drop Spanish because I realized that I actually technically couldn't do Spanish. Here's our arch. Okay. Couldn't do Spanish because I was just, you know, I had to pick a language to learn. All right. So that's one of those things where it's helpful to know that stuff, right? It's amazing what you discover when you're, you know. I think we're doing pretty good, right? I think we've got some good trees. Yeah, so far? So I'm going to dry this one more time. You know, the advantage of not going live on doing this is I can dry a lot more often, which is really what I want you guys to be doing, okay? While I'm thinking about it, let me just take a second and show you some of the paintings that are coming up in the Academy. What's coming up in this really quick is, John will want to back out for this, is this week we will be releasing, it's called Sleigh in the Alps. It's a couple of draft horses in the with that nice big mountain behind it, and this is a fabulous lesson on painting design because I go through and show you what I had to leave in, what I had to take out, why I did it. Even if you never paint it, I would watch it for painting design. Acrylic painting with gingercook.com. You've got to be a red or pink or purple member to watch it.
That's a 14 by 18. How many cookies did we make that one? You remember?
I think that was 4.
I got my cheat sheet right here. It is... Nope, ended up being a box of cookies.
Box of cookies. Okay, so
Box
all right.
of cookies, a little bit of milk.
Okay, so it was a little challenging. And then we have a Wave and Water masterclass, and these are the last water ones we'll be doing. We're going to be, for the year, we'll be doing, this is one that's, we wanted to make this fairly simple. It's an ODG. It was, artists from the past kind of thing. And I really love the rocks and the water and the clouds. And this is a simple one, simple wave and water. We didn't have enough of those in our group. We have a lot of complicated ones. Anybody can.
That's a 2-cookie one there.
That's a 2-cookie. I think you could do it. So if you're wave and water, so if you're blue or purple member, you could be doing that.
Yeah.
And I think this is it'd be a nice gift for the holidays for somebody to paint this. I think that would be nice. So anyway, we have that one. And am I showing the teddy bear?
Teddy bear was released last week.
So last week, for those of you who forgot, we released the teddy bear. And I love this for the holidays. He's got his little paintbrush and his paint tubes. And he goes perfectly with our New Year's bear that we did last year, January.
Yeah, those are both 12 by 16s.
12 by 16s. Really fun, isn't he? So those are some wonderful... new lessons that we released. And of course, I don't think we've showed this to anybody. We didn't maybe for the video last week, but if you missed our old car, that's been one of our winter releases for November.
Yeah, that was done right before the teddy bears.
Right before the teddy bear. And this is such a cool picture. And it's, I just love these old cars, and I just really there's quite a bit to learn about painting the woods and so forth, and the rust on the car. So this is a really good one.
Okay, why do you like old cars and not tractors?
John.
What is your?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but just I just never had an affinity with a tractor.
If you're
John.
not putting birds in this, there better be a tractor in there somewhere.
Okay, well let's get some snow in here now. Let's take a little bit of. We give it a little bit of a purple tint, and let's take some snow. Let's put some snow in our picture. Let's come here. We're going to put some snow in front of the house, right? And it's just you want it to be wavy. You don't want it to be
Right.
flat because it's snow, so it piles up. It's not going to be a straight line.
It drifts. The wind blows it around.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't miss those days.
You just don't miss snow in Michigan, eh?
Nope.
But now you can see how just adding the snow, look what that did, right? Isn't that something? Is it just adding the snow?
It made it a winter wonderland.
Just really made a difference. And you don't have to always have purple. We could have, maybe a little bit of blue or something. And just ultramarine blue is a good one. And just a little bit of maybe a blue drift in here like this, kind of in the shadows, and maybe something here like that. So just kind of melt it in so you don't have lines. It's not a patchwork quilt, so you don't want that. And we'll do the rest of the bottom of the snow later. We have to do another snow, but we got to put our fence in, and then we'll do that. But there's our
first layer
of snow, and first layer of snow, and we got the first layer of snow. Okay. We've got this. Now, we could put some snow on the house. That might be fun.
It might be fun. Oh, tell us, is it fun? You're doing it.
It's fun.
See, I knew it.
I'm having lots of fun painting the snow on the houses.
Cold winter wonderland.
That's kind of my first layer, right? We got to do a little bit more, but we'll come up here like that and make sure we have the other side of it too, right? Like that. But it's starting to feel like a painting, yes and yes. Yeah. And then we'll take some white here and, ooh, that was too thick. Do you see that? Do you see the big thick on the thing? When you see that, flatten out your brush before you use it. That's a good tip.
Well, that would have been disastrous.
Yeah, I would have put a big piece of paint there I didn't want.
A big yucky.
And, yeah. I'm sure we have a, there we go. We're not trying to be too perfect here, but, I need another line. I'm kind of looking. This is white in here too. This is like part of the house. It's white. Okay. All right. We'll get a smaller brush for details, but that's a start, right? You don't have to get too crazy, when you're doing this. All right. That's, I guess, what I want.
Slowly.
Yeah. Just don't go nuts. Just take your time and do what you can. And we'll put some icicles and stuff hanging down, but our red house needs a couple more coats of paint, which would be good, yeah. And we need here's some zinc white. We need a few little, that was our first layer of snow before, now we need some drifts, right? So we need some snow drifts like that. Come on over here like this. And maybe, because there's light in the windows, there might be some light coming out from, kind of reflected on the snow here. Maybe something like this. Not too much, but maybe it was just around our house like that. Might be. So
either that or it's a very, very busy dog.
Well, they have pets, right?
Just saying. One or the other.
Well, then we better put some orange too, so it's not just, so we wouldn't want people to misunderstand, right? All right, so you're saying that. So there's that. Now, because this is dry here, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of this orange color and maybe a tiny bit of burnt sienna and kind of flatten that out on the brush. Using the angle of this like this, we'll put in some bark on this tree.
See, I told you there was a dog around.
What, because it's barking?
Yep.
Yeah, I think on this edge, let's see, just do a little light yellow here. Let's make this edge. You don't want it to appear like you're outlining. Sometimes if you start with the dark color, but in some places you shouldn't, you've got to watch it that you don't find yourself outlining. And here's a little bit more red up here. Maybe some red down in here. Maybe maybe some little bit more of a shadow right here. A little darker under here. And if I wanted to lighten this up anymore, I would probably have to dry it. Mm-hmm. That would be the next thing. So, or.
Wait, there's more.
There's more. What do you say we put in a little tree in the window? Now, if you're not into this celebration, you wouldn't have to add the tree. Yes?
That's true.
But I'm saying, what if we did a tree? A little bit of yellow oxide maybe in the phthalo green. Let's see what we get there. That's kind of a nice bright color. It would be a bright tree because it's they just went in the forest and grabbed one of those guys, right? Put it in
the backyard.
Oh, did you see all that water that happened right there?
I did see that.
That's because when I took the brush out of water, I didn't wring it enough. And that's really, you have to do that, particularly because the water gets into this metal part, comes right down on your picture, which is not the outcome you want. Okay, so there's our tree like that. Okay, there's a tree in the window. And we'll let that sit there, and then we'll do, some mullions over that, okay? So I think we can get away with that. Now I'm going to rinse the brush and wipe it out very carefully because I've had green on it, and I'm going to go for red. And what happens when you do that?
Mud.
If you're not cleaning your brushes enough, you end up with muddy colors. So let's take a little bit of this cad red here and put it here like this on this, there, like that. Let's take a little bit of purple and put under this red here like this. Add a little more detail to the house. Okay, maybe just darken this right here. Darken this under the window. Okay, let's take another coat of red and maybe I'll take a little. I got some cad red up here. I just wanted that a little bit lighter, but a little coat of red, and maybe we'll take a little of this orange color. Let's see, what will that mix under here? There we go. Just kind of brighten this up around here. Same thing here. Let's just give this another coat of red. Because red's one of those colors that kind of needs two coats to ever show up. Okay, it just does. And because this house is, it's pretty simple, but still it's, you still need the second coat of red here.
At least two when you're going over white. If you're going over darker, it's going to take a lot more.
Yeah, so that's why we sort of
lay down a sheet of white first.
Yeah, that's why we did that. And then it came under here like this, and just came over here like this, and did more window. All right, so there's that. So far so good. Yes and yes. All right, nice. So this is probably dry enough where now I can take a little bit of the lighter color here, maybe like a light yellow oxide with white, and maybe just, kind of lighten an edge here, a couple of places on this post. Not too much, but what I want to do here is going to take some titanium white, and I'm going to put a little lantern right here. So here's my white paint for that. Now I got that white a little whiter than I want, even with this brush. So I'm going to just come in here and make it smaller, because that's all we're going to see right there of that lantern. And then we will see, well, that's not true, because we're going to see a little top like this that's going to come up like a little hat, like a little triangle up here like that. And then I'm going to do a triangle here on the bottom like this, and I'm just going to, I don't want it too big, because this is a little, there you go. So we'll just put that in white first. Okay.
That's good.
And that'll be our lantern. When we fill it in, it should look pretty good with a small brush. Okay, so far so good?
I'm with you so far.
You're with me so far. So then I think we need another coat of white around our windows here. White's one of these colors that we're just going to say there's some stairs going up here like that. And I'll use a Posca pen for the small details on the windows. I'm not trying to get, too crazy on you guys. Just trying to get that. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get some of this white and purple color, kind of white and purple color, and I want to come up here on the top of my gate, and I want to suggest
a pile of snow.
Pile of snow up here. Right, like that?
Ooh,
Top
like
of the
that.
gate?
That looks very snowy.
It looks snowy, doesn't it?
Yeah. I like how you did that.
Yeah, so I might lighten this roof here, right here where it's coming down, and then give it a little bit of purple cast, like a little shadow on the edge, like that. let's make this a little dark. Make this in shadow back here, just a little bit behind this one. Our snow, not too much, but just enough. We're trying to differentiate between the two parts of the house. And, oh, I see where I went over a little too far. We'll bring the red down. Okay, so, all right. So now, so far so good, yes and yes. Maybe something a little darker here, kind of like a little dark line between the edge of this and the top of the window. Maybe we'll just make this a little darker too. Okay. All right, so there's just a little more detail on the house, not too much. Now, I want to put the rest of my fence in. So I'm going to take, I'm going to say that there's I'm going to come up about
2 fingers.
About 2 fingers, yeah, about like that. I'm going to make a little post. A little bit wider post.
Is this like a picket fence or a snow fence?
Well, it's like a fence that's made out of pine stuff. Okay, like
pine stuff.
Yeah, like out of like trees.
Yeah, pine stuff.
Like those things, like trees. Supposed to all wooden fences are made out of trees, but this is before they just cut them down and skinned the bark and then
threw them up.
Call
it good. One of those kind of fences.
Yeah, and this one's going to go on a snowdrift. So
this is a fence that you tie your horses up to.
No, you wouldn't. This is This wouldn't keep anybody out, but
keeps the dog in.
No, they'd just jump right through this. Wouldn't keep the dog in.
Then why even bother putting the fence up? It's not going to do any good.
I don't know. People like to go and say mine, mine, mine kind of thing, right? So I'm going to do another post right here. And
that's a bigger one.
That's a bigger one. I think I'll make this one bigger too, so it makes sense. Okay. And then my reference is bigger too. So I'm going to go here, like so. And just come down about the same. Right there. And we're going to say that that's darker. I don't know why. Sometimes if you need something really dark, do ultramarine blue and burn umber. You want something really dark brown. And, okay. We've got let's bring this post down a little bit. Okay, so we've got already we're doing pretty good, yeah?
Looking nice.
So, I think that the roof's dry enough where we can have another coat of white paint on it. So I've washed the brush. I come out here like this and do one more coat of white paint. Just in a couple places. And I want some stuff hanging down.
That stuff would be like icicles.
Yeah, that's it. That's icicoles. That's the stuff I want to get down. Those things. There, see? So sometimes you just have to brighten stuff up a bit, right? Okay?
Contrast.
And then on the very top of this, we want it a little bit whiter, because if your brush was even slightly dirty, white has a tendency to draw darker. Now we're going to do something really brave, so I'm going to dry everything.
And what are you going to do so bravely?
We're going to put in a fence. Normally you don't put in a closed gate, but we're going to this time.
Really?
Yeah. And we're doing that from a design standpoint. We want the color. So we're going to say that there's our fence, and then this is our gate here that's going to come here like that, and come here like that. And we've got a piece that's coming down here like that. Okay. And I've got a piece that's going across here like that. And it'll go a little bit on the bottom too, but we won't see that much of it because it'll be in the snow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle of this and say there's a picket. And 1, 2, I think I can get 2 other pickets in here, pretty even, like that. So that's how I'm doing it. Kind of figure out what the... All right, now we need a little tiny detail brush for this.
And now, why are we doing this closed?
Because I like the blue, and if it was open, and it's snow, I don't want to deal with that. My reference photo was blue. I like the blue. I really like it a lot.
So you're breaking the rule because of color?
Yeah, because of color. I'm breaking the rules.
Just to understand when I can break rules.
Yeah, you can break rules, but you should know what they are before you do.
Yeah, and you should understand why you're doing them.
Yeah.
Just get a clarification, my queen.
Kind of a combination of white and phthalo blue.
I sent it in for a pack. I don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah, okay, so now, let's bring this gate up here like that. Now, these brushes are really nice to use, and they're, you can find them in our Amazon store. Just go to our website, acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com/Amazon. And
you could just say slash. I don't think we differentiate between them. Because in reality, that's the backslash.
well, slash it and then...
Don't want to confuse the folks.
Well, gosh, no. People are already confused. We just don't need... we just don't need it... I think I want it a little bit higher. I'm going to come up a little higher here. On here like that. There you go. And then I'm going to put this line across here like this. These are my darker colors on the fence, the gate. Now, if I were painting this larger than an 8 by 10, friends, I would what? I'd maybe do a little more taping on this to have this a little straighter. But we're just doing it pretty small, so we can get away with a little bit of this, okay? And again, my darkest post is right there and here, and we're going to have snow in front of this. So too much paint on the brush, and maybe I need to rinse my brush a little bit, have a tiny bit of water on it to get this paint to flow a little bit more here. Okay. Now, I'm going to dry that before I put the pickets. Okay. That's key. Know when to dry.
If you thin that paint down a little bit to get the flow smoother for you.
Yeah.
Because it's a little rougher canvas than I think you were hoping for.
Yeah, it's a lot rougher canvas than I was hoping for, but that's all right. We'll put a little bit of... we need to have a little... We'll fix this up with a little bit of white when we're done. We'll put some white back in there that we don't have right now. Let's see, I've got another little brush that might be better for this one. Let's see, you get like 20 brushes in this set, and they're really nice. Here, I want one that's kind of like a bright brush, and so I'm going to just make sure I have enough water in here to mix that with some white. There we go. That's a sort of lighter color. And I'm going to use just the edge of the brush to, well, let's just hope this works.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Bring that just straight down like that. Just pull it down. Kind of rest your arm on the table and just pull it down. Okay. I didn't get totally even, but close enough. Get this up a little higher. And then I want this coming across here. And I think I will, in order to fix that gate, which is not totally even, I will widen out this fence post here. Just make this one a little bit wider. Okay. For our gate. Now I'm going to dry that so I can put the white in between. Okay.
So you put the snow back in so you can see it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Put the snow back in so you've got the contrast, right? So now the gate's showing up. And we'll put a little bit of snow back in here now. Wrong brush. See? Now what we want to do is put a little snow on our fence. Yes and yes, and this a little, because we've got sort of purple behind there, it's going to show up because it'll be brighter.
Yeah, the snow behind it seems to be more in a shadow. I like it. It's getting you in the spirit.
Yeah, huh? So there's our, yeah, isn't that interesting? I mean, just that small little bit, right? Of, and you know, you can play with the shadows a little bit too. You can say there's a little bit of a purple shadow right in here like that, or, you know, do something like this in front of the gate like that if you wanted to say more snow was piled up. Ooh, not that much. Here,
That's too much snow.
maybe. Okay, let's just take a palette knife and wipe that off. You know, you can do that. Okay, now let's
Redo.
rinse the paint and glue off the brush. Okay. Otherwise, you're just going to be painting over something you don't want. Okay. So saying that there's like that. Here's my little bit of purple snow this way. Maybe I'll do a little bit of this, something like this in here, like that. Come up here in front of this, like this. Little drifts. Yes and yes. Snow drifts, yeah. Oh, and I kind of lost my fence here, but we can put that back. And I'll take my brown and do something like that with the post. Okay, so as it kind of cemented those posts in there a little bit, right? Yes and yes. Now, I'm going to take that blue color, which is for the fence, and I'm going to come up here with my little brush. Oh, I had brown on it. See, and I didn't rinse it.
I saw
And then I
that.
got this dirt color. Boy, it happened so quick, you guys. It just,
You lost the brilliance
I
of the blue.
lost the brilliance of painting that white first. Yeah, I'm going to dry that, put the yellow in it, and then put the other blue. Cute. All right, so again, I want to put yellow, so I had blue on it. I have a green lantern if I don't get that blue out of the brush. So here's some brighter yellow, like that. Oh, see, too much water on the brush. Boy, it takes very little. All right, there's my lantern. Now let's take a little bit of cad red, or that orange rather, the cadmium orange. Put it there too. Let's take a little bit of that color and put it a little bit around our post here. Kind of orange and blue are complements, and so if you add, these are these little accent colors that you as an artist should know to do, just because you don't need too much of it, but sometimes it can make a difference. And now look, if you got it, this is where you take the dark paint and just sort of shape things up a little bit. If you got it too big, just make it smaller, okay? So that's the easiest thing. If you're having trouble doing one, just do there. Okay, so there's our little lantern right there, and I think I'm pretty happy with our fence. And make sure I've got the top of our fence right. Okay, a little gate, and let's see, what else was I going to do? Oh yeah, I wanted a Posca pen for the windows. You could, it's just sometimes it's a little easier to do that. Let's dry everything and then we can use rulers and stuff. So I'm going to, I don't want to go right down through the middle of my Christmas tree. So.
Or you can put the frames in, the panes.
Huh?
You're putting the panes in.
Yeah, I'm putting the panes in, yeah.
That could be quite a pain.
So I'm going to come down here like this. And okay, there's stuff. Now the nice thing is we dried it. Now if I don't like that, which I don't, okay, as funny as that is, that's too many lines. I don't like it, but the nice thing about a Posca pen is that you can take it off.
Well, you do it before it dries.
Yeah, before it dries, you can get rid of it. So I want to do something like that, a little bit of a cottage like that. Then I'll do these for, we don't need to get it too complicated, right? No? Yes and yes. We're just trying to, we don't have to have it too perfect. It's a snowy scene, yeah? We're just suggesting that there's some windows in there without getting too nuts, right? And I think that's sort of fun. So without, again, getting too crazy. Now, we can, for instance, now we've got this pretty simple. One thing we could do, we could leave it like this. One thing we could do, for instance, is take a little of this purple and just glaze over this edge a little bit with a little water. Get that in shadow. Okay. Same thing here. Let's just give it a little bit of a purple edge. Okay, something like that. Just do the small things. If you wanted to have your background feel more like it was in the back, you can now, it's dry enough where I don't like this, I can take it off, but I want to just see about what would happen if I I'm not going down very far, just up here with the zinc white. Now this is zinc white, I'm barely touching it and there's hardly any on my brush. And again, this does not work with titanium white will just wreck it. So if you don't have zinc, don't do it, right? See how that just sort of pushed it back even more, right? And there we go. Yes and yes. And then I can take the dark. See, this is all about wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So I want this to be darker here because that's where my snow goes and on top of my gate, so you don't see it otherwise, so where's your you've got to see where's your contrast. Do I need another little bit of light up here like that? See, the very top, just make this a little brighter. Okay, it's just fun. Yeah, the one thing I did with mine, and I think that when I designed this, and I hope you could leave this out if you wanted to, but I hung a little sign down here. I thought that was important, just to have a little sign. And that way you can customize this should you choose to. And then one thing I thought would be very fun to have, you know what, we never used magenta. Maybe we'll take a little bit of red and magenta. Here, I want to come up here. We've dried this, and I want to suggest a couple little birds here.
Oh, I knew it.
Little cardinal birds sitting on here like this.
Better be a tractor.
And then maybe just one over here like this. Just going to suggest some birds. They don't have to be very big. I had a couple down here. You remember the cardinals are sort of half of a shape here, and then you've got a little head. Again, they would be pretty small if you wanted a bird. So again, they would be very small. So if you're saying that what I would have to do is this one's almost too big, but I think I'll take that one out. Because we've dried everything, we can do it. Okay? So I think 3 birds are enough. There. It's just going to say 3 birds. 3 little red birds. Yeah? And have we dried this? No, let's give everything a final dry and do our final stuff. What do you think? Yeah? Yes and yes? All right. I'm doing pretty good, yes. Okay, so I'm going to write. When you're doing a sign, put the first and last letters in first, and if there's a middle letter, put that in the middle, and then figure out what goes around it, okay?
Good thing your name isn't Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, it's a good thing, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so there's that. I think I'm pretty... And There's our little lantern. And really, honestly, could you do another, another line on these, maybe? Just give it another, another coat of white. And you could maybe just tiny little bits of, I didn't get all the orange I wanted in the windows. Maybe I'll pull this up a little higher.
Looking charming.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a charm to it, doesn't it? So somebody wanted something for for something kind of holiday, right? And I want to take a little bit of this dark green color and come in here like this. It's a little bit purple here. We get a little bit of green and blue or something. This could be just a little purple. There you go. Just a little bit behind that house, and we needed a little bit back up in here. Sometimes you got to put a little bit of color back, so you have a little, more contrast, bring your eye forward, less contrast, bring your eye back, kind of thing. We kind of did that over here, and maybe over here on this side of the house too. We might just give us a little bit more contrast. Nothing too drastically different, just then the roof of the house shows up. See how that works? A little bit of a little shadow under here, under the windows. Okay. And could you do a little more? Maybe, but maybe add a little bit. But I think that all in all, we just got to pause now and find our frame, right, for this, our little blue frame.
Yeah, we do. Okay. I found the frame for you, Queenie. Ooh, details on the redbirds. Now they look like more like cardinals.
Yeah, didn't have to do much, right? Just
indicating.
Just kind of indicate a couple little birds there. Just doesn't have to be that much. And, you can just, a little contrast here somewhere that something shows up. You could do that. And, that's really all you have to do. Let me just show you what this finished piece would look like in a frame, a blue frame. These are these ones that Jerry sells. And I think we have a nice winter painting. What do you guys think? So if you're watching this after we first air it during we premiere it during I try to answer a lot of questions in the live chat. I suggest you turn the chat on and make sure that you get an opportunity to see the questions that I do answer. I'm just going to put a red slash through it and like that, my name. There's a reason why I do that. You've been following along, you know that, right?
Now it's officially done.
Yeah.
No more adding, hey.
Just adding a little bit of red there on those birds because that red in the pens is just a little brighter. And I want to do one more thing.
I knew it. There's just one more thing.
And let me tell you why, let me just tell you why. Because if this was coming down here like this, I'm just trying to figure out one more house right here. And I lost my roof here. That's why. I lost a little of that. We didn't put in all the little icicles either. Okay. So there, I feel better about that now. Sometimes you just need to go back up and touch something, but there you go, you guys. So hope everybody's going to have a wonderful holiday season, and hope that you found this to be fun and entertaining. And we'll see you again next week. Be sure to, in the comments below, tell us how you felt about this closed gate. If you liked it, and if you want to see more of this kind of artwork, let me know too.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Ginger Cook, the queen of color, with a blazing brush at the speed of light, and a blank canvas, and a hearty yes and yes. The queen of color, Ginger Cook, and her sidekick, John Little, teach you to paint with acrylics.